Welcome to the Instagram stories for Monday, October 14th. I'm your host, Daniel Hill. We're going to get into what the head of Instagram answered on his Ask Me Anything this week. But before we do that, I want to talk about this show very briefly and ask for your assistance. I've been recording this show for about 6 years now. And in that time, the format of the show has changed over time. It's gotten longer. I've added advertisements. It went from being every day, or as close as every day as humanly possible, to 2 or 3 times a week with longer episodes. And I want to figure out what is the best way to serve you, the listener, going into 2025. Are there things that I should improve about the show? Of course there are. There are tons of things. But what things should I focus on? For instance, should I focus on improving the audio quality? Should I focus on getting more interviews and guests? Should I focus on making the show longer or less commercials? Or what is it about this show that you think I should improve? I have created a Google survey for you to fill out to tell me what you think I can do to improve this show. And since I'm asking for a few minutes of your time, I will say that the first 10 people who fill this out will get a $20 virtual Amazon e-gift certificate. Again, the first 10 people to fill this out will get a $20 Amazon virtual e-gift certificate. So please go to the link in the show notes, take a few minutes, fill it out, tell me how you think I can improve the show, and be sure to include your email address that you use for Amazon so that you can get that e-gift card. Okay, with that, let's get into the show. Let's dive into the questions, and the first one has to do with asking people to email you based on some of the content that you make on Instagram. For instance, if you put your email address in the caption of the reel and you ask people to email you, would Instagram block that? The question, does specifying email in the caption of a reel affect the number of views? Here's Adam's answer.
No, putting an email in a caption is not going to affect your reach. We try to avoid any hard rules like that. I actually can't think of any right now.
Let's go on to the next one. Is there a way to default to sound on? Now, as a product manager, I would tell you that defaulting to sound on would be a very bad user experience. If you opened up the app and it immediately starts playing sound at maximum volume, that's not going to be an expected experience, and therefore no one would like it. Here's Adam's answer to the question, is there a way to default to sound on?
Right now, the way it works is that once you turn sound on by turning it on any one video, then, then the sound stays on. It's a tough one because there's a lot of content that has sound on and is much better with sound on Instagram, but also you don't want to just turn it on automatically for people who are used to being able to open the app and have it be silent because maybe they're in a place where they don't want to bother other people.
You know what might be an interesting twist on that is if your audio is connected to some kind of Bluetooth device, then by default have it on, but maybe you have a Bluetooth speaker and you don't want everyone to hear it. So that's probably not a good idea. Overall, default for sound should be off. That's the best way to do it. The next question has to do with Instagram taking features away or unshipping features. The two that come to mind are the like tab, which showed you all the people who you were following on Instagram and what kind of content they were liking. That was a great way to spy on people, I will tell you. But Instagram unshipped that a number of years ago, along with IGTV, which just feels like a distant memory at this point because we've had Reels for so long. The question, how do you decide what features to take away?
If we take away a feature, it's because it isn't being used very much or not creating a lot of incremental value for the app or for the community. There still might be, even if it's a small percentage, a lot of people in absolute terms who use the feature. But if it's adding complexity and it's not really creating a lot of value for the broader community, then it's always a candidate for being removed.
The next question has to do with thumbnails. Are you the kind of person who wants to have a nice, clean, organized profile grid so you create thumbnails for everything? Sometimes I can be that kind of person, but often I think not very many people see this, so it's really not worth the time and effort to do it. The question, can you give us the option to edit a thumbnail after posting a reel? Well, good news, you have this feature. You could do this anytime. I do it all the time because sometimes I realize the thumbnail I created is not that great and it could be better. So I try to fix it and then re-upload it. Again, not the best use of time.
You can actually edit the thumbnail after posting a reel. What you can't do yet is edit the crop of the thumbnail in the grid. So that's something that we're looking into.
We are going to take a quick break. When we come back, we're going to talk about chronological feed, how to rearrange videos and photos within a carousel before you post it, and watermarks. So stay tuned. Oh, hey, welcome back. let's dive into the next question. The next question has to do with rearranging photos and videos in a carousel before you post it. I personally don't ever do that. I select things in the order that I want, and then if they're not in the correct order, I start all over. I just can't be bothered moving things around. But apparently, you can rearrange things to a certain extent.
This is actually good feedback. I have definitely done the reordering a carousel and you drag and hold as it jumps one by one by one, which is awkward. So I will talk to the team about that. Thanks for the feedback.
The next question has to do with collaborations. If you're not familiar, if you worked with another content creator to make something and you post it, you have the opportunity to add them as a collaborator, meaning that the content will be in your feed and their feed. Now there's a hack here, which is that whoever has a bigger audience, they should be the one to post the content and tag the person who has the smaller following as the collaborator. That's the way to do it. So the question, what's the best way to do a collab post with another creator?
For those of you who don't know about the feature, there's a feature called Collab, which allows you to post with another account to both of your sets of followers. One thing we've learned recently is that the way ranking works is it biases a little bit towards the initiator of the collaboration. So if I initiate and ask you to collab and then you accept, I'm the initiator. We're trying to make sure that it's even, but in the meantime, what I would suggest you do is have the larger account be the initiator because that should help on the margin with reach.
I just want to explain something. When he says on the margin, he means a very small amount, not something that's going to move the needle in a big way. But we have to get as much reach as we possibly can. Let's not minimize. Whatever we can do, if it helps at all, we should do it. The next question has to do with scheduled content. Are you the kind of person who plans your content out in advance, gets everything set up in your content calendar, scheduling it, and then posting it with no interaction? Some people just are that organized, and for that, I respect you. I personally am not. But the question, does a scheduled reel post have less reach than one posted manually? Theoretically, a scheduled reel and a manually posted reel should get the same reach, provided that you are posting them both when the maximum amount of your audience is online. So for instance, if you schedule a reel to go live at 3 a.m. when none of your audience is online, that wouldn't be too smart. But if you manually post it at 3 a.m., that's not going to make any difference. However, if you schedule it for the time when your audience is online, that would be the wise move.
No, it shouldn't. I actually used scheduled posts all the time because often I'm traveling and I want them to go out early in the morning California time, and it should not affect your reach.
So go ahead and use this scheduling tool. The last question we're going to talk about today, can we use watermarks on reels? Is it good or bad?
Posting a video as a reel, or not as a reel even, with a watermark will hurt your reach. We do have no issue with you creating content from other editing apps. That's fine. Just don't post it with a watermark and you'll be good to go.
I feel like I talked about this recently, but even the CapCut app, which has that little CapCut logo animation at the end, just cut it out. You don't need to advertise anybody else's thing. Your content is what you want to have center stage as much as humanly possible. That is going to do it for today's episode. Just as a reminder, the first 10 people who fill out the survey that is linked to in the show notes get a $20 Amazon gift card. So be sure to check out the link in the show notes for that and fill it out. I really am looking forward to your feedback. Be sure to come back next time for more social media news, strategy, and other things that you need to know.
I'm not yet a member of the Instagram team, but my podcast covers many Instagram themes. But the name, image, logos are trademarks at Instagram and the LCC in the USA and every territory. Everything I publish independently until Zuck returns my DMs and starts to pay my salary. Not sponsored or endorsed, no lies, no fallacies. I use their logo with permission, not malicious or callously. No trademark violation, filling all criteria. Follow me on Instagram or Twitter at Daniel Hill Media.